Mack, former NBA player, podcaster, someone that I had the opportunity to be on SUV TV with and cover the NBA draft. So first off, thank you for coming on my show and giving me your time. Your busy schedule.
Yeah, no, I appreciate you for having me. I've been able to listen to a few of your episodes. The MVP been pretty good.
I appreciate it. I'm trying. I found out what I wanted to do at a really young age, and I'm pretty good at talking about sports. So it was pretty easy to kind of find a lane and just get good at one thing. And then I've just been really fortunate enough to be positioned with the right people. And so it's just given me some good opportunities.
Yeah, no, that's dope. I went to school for media arts to get into broadcasting, journalism, all that. So I'm using the things I learned over time to get to it.
Right. Now, I see you have Muhammad Ali right over your left shoulder. That's like my favorite athlete of all time. Are you a big boxing fan or are you just an Ali guy?
A little bit of both, and also, being a famous athlete from Kentucky, he's from Louisville, I'm from Lexington. I always got to represent.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, Ali's my guy. So before we get started into everything, what has your transition been like for you? How's that been? For being a player to then like what you're doing now? I mean, it's just like, was it a hard transition? Was it an easy transition? What has that been like?
So I'm still in the process of transitioning. I'm still playing. I might play again this year, just trying to figure out the right situation, the right opportunity, especially with COVID going around. And there's some few opportunities with some countries, but they're in hard lockdown with the COVID. Right. But in the free time, I try to figure out things that I like and what I don't like. I think I was able to do that last year when we was all quarantined for 8 months. So I got into the podcasting things. I was able to script some TV shows, be like the SUV TV draft show, been able to practice different things to see what I like, got a little bit in coaching. So just transitioning, trying to figure out what I want to do. I actually don't know yet.
Right, but I think that's the beautiful thing is that you do have so many different options. You are obviously multi-talented. There's not really a script on how to transition, right? Because I mean, it's so hard just to be good at one thing. Like just to make the NBA alone, there's only a very small fraction of people that can actually do that. So for you to just be that outstanding at one thing, it's kind of like an honor of its own. So there's really not a script on how to do anything else after that, right? It's just kind of whatever, the world is yours.
Yeah, same thing that kind of got you there. Is just practice. Keep practicing, and then you'll be able to figure out what you want to do. But if you never try different things, it'd be a very tough transition for a lot of people when they get done playing.
Right. Absolutely. Talk about SUV TV. So you have a different perspective than all of us. You were drafted, like you were in the NBA. What is that like to like walk across the stage, shake the commissioner's hand, blood, sweat, tears, years of hard work, sacrifice that people don't see behind the scenes, and to finally be like, I made it. Like, what is that night like?
So I went second round. I wasn't in the green room and then going to on the stage or anything. So I was at home in Lexington, Kentucky with my family. It's a unbelievable moment. One of the moments I remember for the rest of my life. Just being around everybody. All the hard work and dreams paid off. A lot of sacrifice over the time. But it's just an unbelievable feeling. It sucked for me. It was a lockout year. So I got drafted. I went to D.C. for 2 days, and then I didn't see anybody again until like December. So that was a little different, a little transition, but it's the best feeling in the world. Anytime you're able to accomplish your life goal dreams, making something like that, I think people appreciate it.
Right. Absolutely. Now, when you enter the league, people, I don't think, like, I remember I realized this firsthand when I was able to cover the Orlando Magic for a couple seasons. And I remember watching the warm-ups. I'm always the first person there, and I try to be the last person to leave. But when I go there, I was just so fascinated with just warm-ups. Like, I don't think people at home, the fans that are just yelling at the TV, like,
yeah,
how could they do that? It's like, but when you're up close, first of all, you guys don't miss. Secondly, you guys are the best athletes in the world. Like, Can you take me through what it's like to play against the best in the world night in and night out? Because I don't think people truly realize that until you see them physically, like on the court. Because when you're watching it from home on the TV, it's like Steph's not that big. I remember watching Matthew Dellavedova. He walked past me. I'm like, this dude's huge, but like on TV, I think he's small.
Yeah. No, that's my favorite thing about going to games. Like any professional games, whether it's football, baseball, I like to go see the warm-ups. I like to see everyone's routine, seeing how they do, because I understand that they're elite. Top notch athletes. Like I encourage anybody who ever go to the game, try to get there before the 30 minute usually go in the locker room, but anywhere like an hour before the game and just see people warm up, and you can actually see how good people are. So when people are making fun of somebody, like he's not that good, he's on the end of the bench, it's like Trust me, he's probably one of the best shooters you probably ever seen in your life. Um, but it's a great challenge every single night going out there and competing at a high level. It makes you stay on your P's and Q's. It's very different and unique. A lot of people don't think players are playing hard all the time, but when it's the best of the best, your job is to make it look easy. So it looks easy what guys are doing, but it's very difficult. And competing at the highest level, I think is where everybody enjoys the most, talking smack, and just getting the best out of each other.
Right. How about to say, can you take me and my audience from like, give me your perspective on things? Like, what's something the audience doesn't know that only you would know as an NBA player? What's something that like they have no idea about? How many practices do you have? Is it 2 a day? Is there something in particular like, yeah, they have no idea?
I wouldn't say it's not 2-a-days. Is that guys really work on their craft day in and day out, and it's really everybody has put in over 10,000 hours. And the thing a lot of people don't understand is every single play somebody's running, I know what you're gonna run, and it's still hard to stop. That's the thing people don't understand. Like, I can tell you what the play you're gonna do, and we're gonna run it, and somebody can still get a good shot and make it.
Right. Was there anyone in particular where you're like, wow, that, like, you know how everyone says they have an NBA moment? Like Kevin Durant's was when he went against Carmelo. He's like, that was my NBA moment. He was big, he was physical. The whole time he just had me confused. Like, was there an NBA moment for you like, man?
Yeah. I had one rookie year. We got to play against it was MVP D Rose in Chicago, and it was something amazing. I think in his prime, he was probably one of the top 5 point guards all time. But playing against him, it was in DC, and like in DC, they saying "Let's go Bulls" on our home court, and he's doing moves, and everybody ooh and it's just nothing you can do. I just wasn't ready for it at that time.
Man, prime D Rose, if he never gets injured, I mean, obviously it's a big if. Injury is part of the game, but if he never gets injured, he's probably one of the best we've ever seen, like career wise.
Yeah, I agree. I argue with people all the time. I got a question for you.
Okay.
He's one, I think, only 40, 50 players with an MVP. Is he in the Hall of Fame?
I say so, absolutely.
Based on his career and stuff?
Yeah, I would put him in there. Well, because there's also different types of Hall of Fame. So NFL Hall of Fame is completely different than the NBA Hall of Fame. Like NBA, it's just basketball Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
So if you go by just basketball, I think he's done enough throughout his career. The youngest MVP, not even just an MVP, he's the youngest MVP of all time. So you take that, what he was able to do, Chicago, they were the number 1 team in the East. They ran up against LeBron and the Heat, but what he was able to do at such an early age, and then what he's meant for basketball. And I love what he's be able to become now. Like, a lot of people would have given up. A lot of people would have been like, okay, look, I've hurt both of my knees. I keep getting injured, but he just showed so much resilience. And then he revived his career in Minnesota, and then you have Detroit, but now in New York. And it's like, he's just almost found like this newfound appreciation for Derrick Rose. And I feel like most people have now too. So to me, he's a Hall of Famer.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree. When you do the whole body of work, being number 1 overall pick, being in Memphis and all of that, I definitely agree with you.
Before I get into individual questions with you, just from like a kid in the candy shop, was there a certain location, certain team, a certain situation where you had the most fun? Maybe the team wasn't the most successful, but you found your stride a little bit more. Maybe it was just team success, and that was the best team you've been a part of. Was there a moment where you had the most fun throughout your career?
Yeah, here in Atlanta, the Atlanta Hawks, here for the 4 years. All the guys who've been through and been out, like, we're still close to this day. I'm real close with the coaching staff to this day. We had a lot of fun, and the most fun we had was in the locker room and in practice. Like, it wasn't really the game; it's just talking smack every single day, competing at a high level, playing cards. Like, that was an unbelievable time, and I would say, in my basketball career. There's no egos. Emmy was winning a lot. That's the year where we had 4 All-Stars, 60 wins. It's just a great, unbelievable time.
Right. Al Horford was on that Hawks team, right?
Yep.
I had Coach Lewis, who was on the show with us, talking about it, and he coached at UF. And when they were winning those national championships, and Al Horford was in that locker room, and he talked about the impact Al Horford has. You can't put a stat on it. You can't put a number on it.
No, you can't. He's a very unselfish player. I think his wife was able to do a lot of things. He know how to lead. Most of the time, it's by example. The first one there in the gym, last one to lead, taking care of his body, stretching, and encouraging guys to keep getting better each and every day. Don't get complacent.
Now, this may sound like a dumb question, but I'm sure people would be wondering this. Like when I've entered locker rooms and I'm interviewing players, I could feel different atmospheres in different locker rooms, different teams.
Yeah.
Like how important when you get to that level and everyone is so good, chemistry truly does matter, right? Not every team has it. Like certain players seem like they were in their own world. They weren't really vibing with each other. And there's other teams, like you said, they were just laughing and joking and having fun. Does that truly make a difference when you get to that level?
Yeah. Everyone's good at this level, but if you don't have chemistry, it's just not going to work. Like the starting point guard is the best player at his position at his age for about 15 years. On the other team, you got the same thing. But if you don't come together as collectively, it's going to be very hard to win at this level. I think that's why it's so hard for teams to win, is because they don't have that camaraderie with each other to get to that level. No, everyone's always competing. It takes a lot at the NBA level to win because, like the GM, everything is important. Because you have to have the money match up. Some guys are upset. Someone's making more money than him. You think he's better than him. And like you said, you could feel that in locker rooms and stuff.
Right. And to you, Atlanta, by far, that was just all you guys bought in.
Yeah. We just all had a good time. Fun. Coach Bud did a great job of keeping the season fun for us. Like some days for practice, we would just play kickball. I remember one time in preseason, we was in Miami. We ran out the Florida Atlantic football stadium, went and play flag football for the day. Like different things like that to keep everyone engaged throughout the whole year and have fun. I think it's just unbelievable.
Right, absolutely. Now, before we get into like today's topics and today's teams, I want to ask you this. You talked about like your NBA moment. Do you have like a favorite game? Do you have like a favorite shot? Is there one that stands out to you? Like when you look at your career and you sit back like, oh yeah, that was the game right there.
Oh yeah. My favorite game that I've had two. One of them was both of them I played in. My favorite game would be was playing the Indiana Pacers. Me and Mike Scott. I think it was Game 3. And we went on like a 25-0 run against them when they was like the AC. We pushed them to 7 games. That one was my favorite one in Indiana, in Indianapolis, when I went to school at Butler. So I had a lot of people that was able to come in that game. But then also I was able to play in Kobe's last game. We played them. So those two would be my top. I played in national championship games and all of that, but at Kobe's last game was something like special, especially him being my favorite player, growing up.
That night, NBA history was made. It was his last game, and the Golden State Warriors broke the record for most wins in the season all in the same night. So it was like such a special night in the NBA. What was that? Okay, you probably can't even put that into words because Kobe's like bigger than life. What was that like? Like he was your favorite player. You're playing against him. It's his last game. Like the vibe in that arena must have been on just a completely different level.
Yeah, the aura in the arena was just crazy. I remember pulling up to the arena. They had like army security outside, like machine guns, all kinds of stuff. Like what kind? Like all right, it's a big deal today. I know it's a big deal, but it's really a big deal. And then when I walk out on the court and I see Snoop 5 rows up, not courtside. I know it's gonna be a special day, but it was great. Everyone was cheering for Kobe. Our team, their team, we wanted to let them go out with a good game. And for the record, we did not let him score 62. Like he had to work for that.
Okay, so yeah, clarify that because a lot of people are like, it was his last game. No, you knew he was gonna go out there and shoot the rock, but you guys didn't just let him score the 62.
No, we definitely didn't let him. He worked for that and he earned it. For people to know that we didn't let him, he shot 50 times. So you shoot 50 shots, you have a chance to make 100. He got 62. So he worked for it. But it was just a great game. I was able to talk to him. It was Kobe night. Everybody had Kobe shoes that night. He was able to sign my shoes for me. So, that was one of my favorite games.
Man. My last question for you in regards of like just tough matchups and favorite games, what would be the hardest guard? Like you've obviously matched up against the toughest people in the world. You've hit the toughest shots on the toughest people. Was there one player that maybe we don't even think of that's like, man, I don't know why this guy just gives me trouble?
For me, it was Westbrook and then and Jared Jack. That's one of my good friends to this day. Jared Jack has his pickup, and I can't time it up. And if I do, I'm real close, and it still go in every single time.
Every time.
Him and Clay, when I have to guard Clay, chasing off screens. But and Westbrook, Westbrook is just so aggressive with his force. You just never know what he's gonna do. So like most of the time, like with Jack and Clay, I can kind of time they stuff up. With Westbrook, you just don't know, and he's gonna go right through your chest.
Yeah, all gas, no brakes. Like
Yeah.
I love analogies. I compared him to Meek Mill. Like he's just gonna go hard every single track, every time. You know what you're getting with him, and I love that. I mean, I know people have been critical of his game, but I rather know what I'm getting with a player than somebody that may just clock out.
Yeah, and it's very impressive how hard he's able to play every single game. I don't think people realize that. Like that's special.
Yeah, he has like an endless motor. So that kind of transitions into, let's just transition to the Lakers for a second. So obviously Westbrook, LeBron, you have AD, you have Ariza, you have Dwight, just bunch of veterans. And I know they're getting a ton of criticism for being old. I'm not really buying into that. Obviously health is wealth. You got to be available. But I do think a lot of them have been written off. I think they all hear the criticism clearly. LeBron sends out a tweet. How do you think that fits those pieces? Because you've played against them. How do you see the Lakers? Do they work? Do they not? Does Westbrook's style mesh with LeBron and AD's?
I think it would work. I haven't met anybody who's played with LeBron and the style didn't work. He makes it work. He figures out a way to get everyone involved and still play the game. It might take some time, but he always makes it work. Um, they make it to the playoffs. I'm pretty sure they will. Like you said, staying healthy the whole time. I like them in a 7-game series if they're healthy. I don't care who they play. No, LeBron's one of my favorite players. I think he's one of the best ever, and he just makes everyone better. That's why I believe it's going to work. He know how to sacrifice, take a back seat for a little bit to let this person, play and get over a hump. And I think Westbrook and Carmelo, all those guys are hungry to prove people wrong, and they're willing to do the little things.
Right. And you NBA players, you hear the criticism. You guys are human at the end of the day. That's one of the questions I wanted to ask AD. I never had the opportunity to. It was like when he first went to LA and everyone's like, what do you think of this? What do you think of this? I just wanted to ask him just from just a regular human being's perspective, what is the transition like? Like when you trade teams, what is that like that you have to move your whole family? You have to get a different location. I think a lot of the times us as media members and fans, we forget you guys are people too. What is that transition like when you have to go to a different team? Is it as seamless as we think it is?
No, it's very difficult. I've been traded I've been traded multiple times. Sometimes I wanted to get traded, and sometimes I didn't. It's very difficult, especially when you have a family. Either you're away from your family, or your kids got to change school, and it might just be for a little bit because you don't know how long you're gonna be there with that team. But that's very difficult. And one thing about the NBA and the players, they all try to make it easy as possible because they understand what you're going through. So when you come to another team, they all gonna welcome you with open arms. Um, and make you feel wanted and important because obviously you kind of feel like the other team didn't want you. That's why they got rid of you. So everyone welcomes you with open arms and try to make the transition easy for you.
Right. Yeah. And I think, like I said, we forget that a lot of times as media members, like, oh, this person just got traded. Why aren't they performing? I'm like, dude, you have no idea outside of the court what they could be having going on. And they just have to go in and just play and perform.
Yeah.
And that's hard to do.
I talk to people all the time about that. It's like, all right, you're going to work for CVS today, and then I'm going to call you and come in and work at Walgreens with a whole different setup or whatever, and I want you to perform at the same level.
Dude, that's insane.
Immediately, and I'm going to have 10,000 people watch and tweet you every time you mess up.
Yeah, it's insane. The whole world watches, and everyone. I feel like, Shelvin, I promise you, I made a concerned effort to put down the phone because I feel like I go on Twitter and I'm watching these games. I'm like, these people tweet so quickly. I'm like, are they even watching the game or they're just excited to tweet?
Yeah. Now some of them have it already, just waiting until you mess up and just
pre-draft tweets already. They don't even just whatever it is. Hey, terrible shot. They just tweet it as soon as you miss. It's like, golly, you can't even watch the whole game. Everyone seemed like they got hit with the injury bug. Obviously, it was like preseason, like shortened, condensed season, more back-to-backs, a lot more travel. As a player, how much of your time and effort goes to maintaining your health? Like, obviously, the fun part is working on your game and getting up shots. Like, what are those procedures you have to take? Like, obviously, the epitome of it would be a LeBron or Russell Wilson, how much money they put into their bodies. What is that daily routine like? Is it just daily stretching, daily working out? How do you focus on your health?
Yeah, so during the season, this is something surprising a lot of people don't realize. During the season, you really don't do too much basketball stuff. You might do 30 minutes or hour a day on that. Then the rest of the day, you're just working on your body, keeping your body healthy, stretching, lifting, massages, treatment. I think it's the biggest thing people don't realize during like an NBA season. It's not a lot of guys getting practice. Like you can't do 5-on-5 practice that often. But you gotta take it serious. You only get one body. I don't care how much money you got, can't buy another leg. And I think people understand that. That's why people fortunate as LeBron and Russell Wilson are able to pay that. Some people are not able to pay that, so you try to do different things, eat the right way. Just little tricks that you can pick up and to help your career last.
Right. Absolutely. I think we're seeing more of that. I mean, Tom Brady is the first person that comes to my mind. Granted, it's the NFL. You look at Kevin Durant, he just came off an Achilles injury. If you watched him in the postseason, you wouldn't even think he was coming off an injury. Like, it looked like he had no problems whatsoever on his leg.
Yeah, definitely. And that's the credit to the NBA staffs for taking the extra time and giving him time to take your time. Don't rush back and hurt yourself again. And it's a player's lead, and they accept that and get a good product when somebody's out there on the court.
Right. I want to transition to the Atlanta Hawks. So you talked about how that was like your favorite team to be a part of, the chemistry. What do you think of this current roster and this current Hawks team? Nate McMillan, obviously Trey Young. I said this was his first. I compared him to Roddy Ricch. He's like a young artist up and coming. And then his first album was his first postseason, which was just straight bangers. He made it to the Eastern Conference Finals. Roddy Ricch's album was incredible. What did you think of Trey Young, like seizing the moment? Because I think we could look at a young, talented player and be like, okay, he's incredible. But I was really impressed with how he welcomed the big stage, like stage presence. He took a bow in Madison Square Garden. He wasn't really shook or rattled by people hating on him. What are your thoughts on Trey Young and the Hawks team right now?
I think they're pretty good. I give credit to the coaching staff and been able to bring in someone guy like Lou. Like Lou is able to come and take a lot of pressure off Trey or tell him certain things he need to do. With those kind of teams and they're still making changes, you get veteran players like Gallinari, they're able to take a lot of pressure off Trey, and he's able to perform at a high level. I also give Trey a lot of credit. This year he passed the ball a lot more, and it made his team better. And when you able to get off the ball a lot, it takes a lot of pressure off you. And then when it comes back, you able to make a play. You're not tired trying to do something the whole game. I think he learned that this year, and he actually seemed like a great result. And I think he's going to continue to get better and better.
What are your thoughts on Cam Reddish? I was able to interview him a couple seasons ago before the pandemic, and I think he's like one of their secret weapons that they haven't truly utilized yet. Like we saw it towards the end when Trey was injured, so he got more burn, and as soon as he went in, he had an impact. I think this could be a big step in the season, the right direction for Cam.
Yeah, I think so too. Especially is it DeAndre Hunter is going to be out at the beginning of the season. Yeah. So he's going to be able to come in and fill that role. Early on, those guys were competing against each other for playing time, but he's able to come out there in the playoffs, give himself confidence, and play. Hopefully, he just stays healthy.
One of my last questions for you is regarding the landscape, because when you look at the East, the Hawks were in the Eastern Conference Finals. You have the defending champions in Milwaukee. We're talking about how Miami got better and they're deeper, especially defensively with Lowry and Tucker. And then we're not even talking about the Brooklyn Nets. The Chicago Bulls got better. The Knicks are going to be hungry. It's just so well balanced when you look at the East. As a player, is it hard to look at the Brooklyn Nets? And obviously they have star talent, but how important is it to have the depth that a lot of people say they're missing, or those veteran players? Do you think that they have enough star power, if healthy, to overcome all of that?
Yeah, they definitely have enough star power to overcome that. But I think they're gonna make some changes and get some depth. Like I don't care how good this first five is in the NBA. No, your bench has to win you a few games in the playoffs. As you can see this year, with a few games where Forbes from Milwaukee won a game or two. I'm trying to think. My mind is drawing blank. But a lot of guys off the bench come in, and like Cameron Payne won a game or two for the Suns. You kind of need that because it's tough for your star players to win every single game and do that. But the East is looking good. A few years ago it wasn't as loaded. I think it's as loaded as the West. So I'm anxious for the season to start. It's gonna be very entertaining.
It reminds me of when you were in the league. Like the Hawks were really good, the Bulls were good, the Pacers were good. Obviously, you have the Heat. It's just very well balanced. I don't remember it being this balanced before. It's like we're already talking about the Nets and the Heat, but we're not even talking about the Bucks who just won the championship.
Yeah, no, that's definitely crazy. And it's a lot of stars now. I think that's the big thing is every city kind of has a star. Kind of when we was, like when I was in Atlanta, like we had our team. Pacers had Paul George. The Bulls had Jimmy Butler. Miami still had like D-Wade and all that. I think it's overall great for everybody.
Right. Shelvin, I appreciate you coming on my show. I know you're working on a bunch of different things. Is there, before I let you go, The floor is yours. Your podcast, social media, events that you have coming up. What do you got going on?
Yeah, I just right now have my podcast TP&B, Think Positive Believe, on Apple and Spotify with me and my co-host Mel Clemens. Y'all can check us out. Also, you can follow me with the TP&B podcast or Shelvin Mack on Instagram and Twitter. Just hopefully I can get you on the show. We was able to talk. We talk a lot about other stuff other than sports. I think you'll have a great time. So I'm gonna have you on there. Just looking forward to continue to grow as a person and as a player.
Oh, absolutely. I would love to. It'd be an honor to come on your show. Before I let you go, quick question. We talked about it when I was in person with you because I love Atlanta and I'm thinking about going there. Do you roller skate?
I do not roller skate. I haven't skated.
We got to get you on the wheels. Cascade's a good time.
Yeah. Nah, I've heard my wife skates, so no. Hopefully after the pandemic we'll be able to get out there.
Yeah, but I got to get you on the wheels. It's definitely fun. I appreciate it, Shelvin. You're always welcome anytime. And then obviously I would love to absolutely come on your show. So thank you. I appreciate it.
Yep. Nah,